The wheels do indeed keep turning. Good morning. I'm Babz Rawls-Ivy. This is LoveBabz, LoveTalk, and that is Bobby Asher from the International Festival of Arts and Ideas. Hello, my friend.
Babz, it's so good to see you.
It's nice to see you.
You were the kind of one of the last people that I saw in person. We had a little dinner party. What was it? I've been calling it the Last Supper.
Oh, the last. It sort of felt like that, right? That was the last time you could gather with people in small spaces, in any space, right? So, how are you?
I'm great. That's a question. That's a rhetorical question that carries a lot more weight these days, I think.
I know. Gosh, I mean, this has been a trip. Has been a real trip. But
Yeah.
I tell you what, everybody was holding their breath to see what the International Festival of Arts and Ideas was going to do, what the pivot was going to look like, if there was going to be some sort of cancellation. And y'all just came out the gates swinging.
We tried. We're certainly doing our best. I think I literally had, and I think when we were at that party, I shared my little secret playlist with you of the artists that were going to be on the green. I think we literally had just a few days when we had like put a ribbon and tied the bow on top of the in-person festival when people started saying, man, there's this coronavirus, I don't know what's going to happen. And we had to spend about 2 weeks unraveling that year's worth of work.
Oh gosh.
And which was tough, but then we took a step back and we said, what can we do right now? What are we good at, as an organization, and what does our community need? And I think that those were the kind of the guiding principles that sort of led what we did next, and what you see hopefully on your screen now every week.
I love it. The screen chats and you and whomever is like talking about the next thing or the upcoming thing and what's happening. And
yeah, one of the things we thought about was that, if we stuck with the traditional festival dates, which, the festival wouldn't even typically start until June 13th.
Well, that's what I thought. I was like, man, this feels early. Like,
yeah,
I know time has not flown by that fast.
Right. We said, let's meet people where they are, and let's, just start having events now. When people are in lockdown, they are going to be more likely, we thought, to engage with their computer screen more. As the weather gets warm and people get out, and people get Zoom fatigue, might be less likely to do that. So we just started putting things out. We approached all of our ideas panelists, and we put together a very strong online series of ideas events as well, and just started plugging away and doing as much as we could to support the local economy in New Haven, and support the local artistic ecology and the restaurant scene and all those things as best we could.
So does this feel like the ideas part of the festival is really much more front and center than ever?
Well, last time we talked, we were talking about that theme of democracy, and I think this pandemic has pulled back the curtain and the veil for a lot of folks. I mean, a lot of folks already knew, but pulled back the curtain for a lot of folks on the inequities that exist in our society that relates to democracy. I mean, these problems in some ways are tied very directly to who we vote for and who we entrust our leadership with. And so definitely we've taken some of those events and made them more about what's happening in the present moment, because I think it's a time for change, and a time to really talk about those issues.
I think you're absolutely right. And the way that you stacked up this whole ideas conversation pieces, I mean, it's a Muhammad Ali punch every time out the gate.
Well, I know you like gossip, so I think I can break some news here today if you want me to.
Yes.
We have an event coming up called The Role of Artists in Democracy. And we just added a panelist to that. So that's going to be on May the 28th, Thursday, May the 28th at 4. We are working with 4 different time zones to bring the panelists to this event. But it's going to be the poet Richard Blanco, who did the poem at the inauguration in 2012. An incredible Indigenous theater maker named Larissa Fasthorse, Katie Rubin, and then also who we just added is our former Visionary Leadership Award winner, Angelique Kidjo. So that panel
Wow.
is going to be a doozy.
Oh my God, that is good. And she's the right one to sort of have on a panel to talk about art and artists and their commitment to. Oh my God, that's going to be good.
Such a special person, and has a great history of performing at the festival. And as you know from my super secret Spotify playlist, we had her booked for June. So we will definitely have her back at the festival. We certainly wanted to get a chance to talk to her about this theme. So we're really excited for that one.
Wow. Okay. Give me some more, baby.
Well, I mean, you already know this one, but we booked for our Juneteenth event. This is June 19th. On the Juneteenth event, we had a conversation about race and democracy. Mm-hmm. And of course, one of the panelists on that event, the incredible Nicole Hannah-Jones, just won a Pulitzer a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I know. I'm so fangirl crazy. Fangirl crazy.
So that one's going to be a lot of fun. We're excited about having that conversation. We have these constitutional cafes or constitutional happy hours where we have an expert who's going to take a particular segment of the Constitution and break it down for you, but also have a lively discussion about how that's being applied or not these days. Just a really solid, really necessary conversations, and as community based as we could make it. I think for every sort of national expert, which we admire, that you'll see on the stage, you're going to see folks who exists in the community of New Haven and whose lived experience and advocacy. Somewhere. You're in there. You didn't think you were going to get away without us putting you on a panel somewhere, right? But so we're excited about that group of events. Elizabeth Nearing put together a great.
Well, when you said Elizabeth Nearing, who says no to Elizabeth Nearing?
That's right.
No one.
Certainly not me.
So did is this surpassing your expectation? Because when you're into this now, like it's moving, it's happening. Yeah. But 2 weeks ago, a week ago, a month ago, you couldn't have. What did you think?
Well,
this was crazy.
Yeah. I think that one of the things we had to say to ourselves is we are not going to have data or anything upon which to base these decisions. So the best thing we can do is just do something, do it fast, do it as directed as we can to the community in which we exist, and then make adjustments as we go. But, when we opened our first festival event, I said, we're, 10, 11 weeks from the end of this thing. Let's go ahead and make it as much as we can in the time we have. And I mean, it's been very special. The food events, especially because I think people are hungry for community. And for me, as you know, we always talk about food. That's pretty much all we talk about. Yes. But food to me means community in a really important way. So those food events, especially, I was on the Zoom call with the folks from Ordinary and Roya last weekend, and it was 45 minutes. We had 300 people, over 300 people who bought in. They
extended me an invitation, but I couldn't. I had another competing thing. So I was like, because Tim Cabral is my love. So
of course. But so we were there. It was 45 minutes after the event had officially ended online, and there were still 55, 60 people on Zoom just shooting the bull. It was like a cocktail party that wouldn't shut down. I'm like, where's the bouncers? We're gonna have to come in and turn the lights on.
Like, we'll have to virtually kick you all off.
Yeah.
Turn off the lights.
That's right. So
but that's a wonderful
I think that
thing,
speaks to that. Yeah.
Because people want. The thing about New Haven is it is good for community. It is good about gathering and people coming together. I mean, this city really is about that. And so I am sure people are sort of missing that level of intimacy with neighbors and just city people in general. And so this gives them opportunity to sort of mash it up a bit, from your own house. So
indeed.
So I saw the talk with, what's his name? Anand
Girard-Heratus.
Anand, yes.
I had to practice that for it.
Yes. He was good. I mean, he was fierce right out the gate. Did you know he was going to be fired like that?
I figured as much. And, I think it's a necessary conversation to have about, billionaires and the question of what that means in our society right now. And I think he has a very data-based approach to saying this is not the right path to look for these billionaire saviors to come in and spend their money on specifically whatever they want to spend it on, when they should just really be taxed and support the economy that they plunder, in his words, on a daily basis. So that was a doozy. John Denkowski was right there with him, and
He was.
Really a very direct conversation, I thought.
Yes, I thought it was good. I didn't catch the whole entire conversation. I caught the tail end.
Yeah.
But I certainly enjoyed, I love those kinds of thought-provoking things where the rubber meets the road, where there's real talk. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're not playing around here. It's like, look.
Yeah. And I hope that any billionaires that were watching that event weren't too upset. I guess I don't know how many we had.
You know what? Rub some money on yourself. Your skin is thicker than that, I hope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and you have opportunity, and all you billionaires out there, you have opportunity to prove him wrong.
He used an amazing term that I'd never heard before, because someone asked on the chat. They said, what can we do? Is there a way to be an ethical billionaire? And he said, if you're a billionaire, why don't you do a complicity audit and see? And that was an amazing term, I thought, to say. Like,
I like that complicity audit.
Yeah, I think that's something everybody should do.
I was going to say, Bobby, any one of us can take that on, and I'm going to bandy that around a bit.
I like it.
Complicity audit. I like that. All right. So, what are you most looking forward to?
Well, right after this, we have another cocktail event tonight with 116 Crown. I'm not sure if sales are still open for that, but I'm very much looking forward to that one. Coming up next week, we have, of course, the role of artists in democracy. We have a Constitution Cafe on June 3rd. But one thing a program that we started that we haven't talked about quite yet is something that we're really excited about, called Arts on Call. When we started this process, and I think Babz, your birthday party on the porch had a little Arts on Call.
It was a vibe.
Its own.
Yes, it was.
So the way this works, and full credit to my great friend Josh Cohn down at Creative Alliance, which is a great artistic organization in Baltimore. He started doing something very quickly in the pandemic called Sidewalk Serenades. And so I called him and I said, I'm gonna steal your idea. And he told me, some details about how to do it. So we created Arts on Call, which is, you can go on the festival's website. You can see a great list of.
I did. I saw some amazing. I saw my friend Phil Brown. Right. I saw. Oh my God! You have a bunch of folks who are up there that you can secure their talents.
Yeah. So you just go on, you find a time that works for you, and you buy a performance from that artist. And at that time, the artist will show up at your residence and perform outdoors, 10 to 15 minute set of theater, dance, or music, or poetry, whatever their genre is, for you and your family. And we're doing it in a very quick way so that folks don't have time together. We put very clear instructions on our website about observing social distancing when you see these performances. But people all over the New Haven area are buying these performances. They're buying these performances for each other, and they're giving these New Haven artists the chance in this moment to share joy again. In a safe way.
Tabisa had the young violinist, young man, at her house, and it was beautiful.
That's great.
Yeah, she Facebook Live.
Facebook Lived it.
And she had her family. They were out having dinner in their yard, and the young man was playing, from a socially acceptable distance, and it was just beautiful.
That makes me so happy to see. Yeah.
I was like, I love that.
And we want to make sure to let everyone know that the proceeds to this program, the artists are setting their prices, and the proceeds to this program, all of them are going directly to the artists. So this is a way that
very economical.
Yeah, it's affordable. I mean, you go to the bar, you're going to spend it to see a show. You're going to spend the cover charge, and then spend a little bit at the bar, whatever. So it'd be about the same.
But it's very, very economical, and you certainly can, like I have a front porch, right? and I'm trying to figure out, okay, I could have maybe 4 people on the porch and a couple of people on the stairs and a couple of people on the sidewalk and just, do so,
Yeah,
have an artist. Like it's a doable thing. I'm like in my mind trying to work this out because I
totally,
really want a performance because I just
totally.
love this concept.
Well, the response has been great, and we're going to continue the program. We're doing it on a rolling 2-week basis, but we know we're going to continue through June the 14th.
Oh, good, good, good.
So get on the festival website, artidea.org, and tell your friends. These are great gifts. You can call someone and
Yes.
say, when are you going to be home, and then send them a performance as a gift. And the next phase of this, we've actually been able to redirect some grant money. We are going to start sending artists from the Arts on Call program from New Haven to organizations and places where folks might need these performances, but might not have the sort of resources or the time to sort of book them and pay for them. So we're going to send them, to like nursing centers and homeless shelters and medical facilities and places where essential workers are doing their work these days. So we're gonna start doing that over the next couple of weeks as
Oh, I
well.
love that. I'm telling you, this is how you are inclusive of everyone. You don't leave anybody out of this opportunity and this experience. Just because you're in a homeless shelter does not mean that you cannot enjoy this festival, right? Like you
Indeed.
can enjoy the richness of this festival from wherever you are. So that's a beautiful thing, Bobby Asher. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we're having fun with it.
So tell me a little bit about now. There's a whole bunch of things going on, right? Like the big read.
Yeah. So we had a reading from Stephanie Burt and interview a couple of weeks ago, but the big read events are continuing. We have story time with we have some great partners for that as usual. Nasty Women Connecticut, of course, the New Haven Pride Center, and Patrick, our great friend, and then the New Haven Free Public Library, and the Word poetry organization. So they have events going now through the end of June. Incredible events for young people, for trans people. The subject of the book, is around issues of gender and sexuality and those things. And so just a really great series of programs. I think I can't remember how many years the festival's been a part of the Big Read, but it's been a really special program. And in this, it's one of the parts of the program that's been able to really flourish in an online environment. So lots of great
Yes,
events there.
yes, yes. And tours. Talk a little bit about these tours.
Yeah.
I am fascinated by this.
Well, I have to give a shout out to our partners, but also the incredible staff at Arts and Ideas. Denise Santisteban, who's curated our tours for years, went back to some of these partners and said, how can we do a tour that people can participate in digitally? And we've come up with some really terrific tours. And then Tiffany on our staff, and Missy and Doug, our technology folks, they were buying cameras, these video cameras and microphones and things, and they were sending out these, for our bike tours, sending out folks, and they did a full canal trail bike tour. And I got a note from somebody the other day that said, I put on the video and I got on my exercise bike and it felt like I was right there.
I love
So
that.
doing some bike tours, and then also walking tours where you can download the map off the festival's website and walk through, and the New Haven Notables one, the one that the young scholars, high school scholars created about the Black and Latinx activist history in New Haven is up.
That really was. I'm so going to do that.
Yeah.
Doing that.
Yeah. So still, especially as the weather warms, and some of these restrictions are a little bit less, but we're learning ways to get out into public safely again, and wearing masks and socially distanced. These tours are something that you can do to feel connected to your community again.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I love it. So we run through the idea series a bit, the food events, the arts on call, more or less. I am.
Yeah, I don't know. Compagnia de Colombari, this company, they're really loved in New Haven. They presented The Merchant of Venice that the festival did outdoors a few years ago. It was in one of the Yale courtyards. Just a
I
beautiful
know.
piece.
I went to that. I was
Yeah.
there for that.
And so we were planning to work with them again before the Rona, and they were going to do a piece called More or Less I Am, which is really based on Walt Whitman's Song of Myself, his great poem. And we'd chosen that because it's really connected. Walt Whitman has this great sort of Americanness to his poetry, and More or Less I Am was really written in a time of great change and transformation in the United States. So so we were going to do the piece live, and when we determined that we weren't going to be able to do it live, Karin Kunrad, the incredible artistic director, came back to us and said, I would like to try and create a version of this piece that exists, online on a screen. And we have enough trust and respect and appreciation for her work that we said, we're happy to take this journey with you. And so they've created now, it's 4 different episodes that are adapted from the original piece, that are being released over the course of a few weeks. The first one I think is being released today, and then it'll continue through to the end of the festival or for the next few weeks. And she's got her artists from Compagnia dei Colombari, musicians in Brooklyn, she's in Manhattan, artists in Italy and other countries, the islands, the Caribbean, all coming together through Zoom, performing their part of the piece, and then editing it together into these vignettes that she's sharing. So each episode's about 7 to 12 minutes long, something like that. Very sort of easy bites of artistic experience, and really, I've seen the first 2 now, and they're just beautiful, and really thoughtfully done, and feel really present to the moment we're in right now. So that's a way that we could kind of have an artistic experience online in addition to all these conversations and other experiences.
Mm-hmm. I love this. I just find I love the creativity, the way that people use this medium to sort of be expressive. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one is daunted by not being able to get together in some kind of place, but that we use this medium such that it is and art, just bringing the art. Just
Well, I think what this did, if you ask, organizations do these things where they ask about their relevance. They say, if we disappeared right now, what would be missed about us? And I think this pandemic made us ask the question: if you took away the one single thing that was absolutely necessary to art making, which is the communal gathering of people in one place and an experience together with artists, how can you respond? And I think the arts community has answered that question, and I think we've answered it in a way that certainly I'm ready to be back in an audience seat as soon as it's safe to be there. But we've answered it by saying we can do what we can now, and give people that sense of joy and connection as much as we can through a screen. And as soon as we're able to gather again safely, we're going to appreciate it that much more. I can personally not wait to get on a nasty train, go to New York, buy an overpriced cocktail, sit in a restaurant, eat a ribeye, and then go crowd into a theater and see a show with a bunch of folks. I can't wait to do that again. But until I can, we're going to have as much fun as we can on a screen. So
I appreciate that. So talk to me about the Activist Songbook.
Yeah. This piece is really another one that we're working on doing in its original in-person form with, of course, Aaron Jafaris, great New Haven activist, artist, and poet.
Treasure. He's a treasure.
He's a treasure. I went on a little bike ride with him a few weeks ago. Aaron and I we did about 25 miles on the bike, so we had a lot of time to talk.
Okay.
His artistic collaborator, Byron All Young, who of course was the moderator for our great event with George Takei earlier this spring, and so they're creating an online version of this piece, and it's workshops, it's conversations, but it's also they're creating these virtual choirs where they have different collaborators from New Haven around the world come together and create a piece of activist art that asks the question about what songs and art do the activist movements that are happening now need? What does the prison reform or prison abolition movement, what does that movement need? And they're working to create those songs in this piece. So I think we've seen the first 2 virtual choirs. We have more to come, more events throughout until the end of June. So that's going to be a really a fun piece to experience as well.
I love it. It's a very interesting. I love seeing the voices come together from different places, and it's just beautiful. Just a beautiful concept. So, talk to me about storyteller. Now, I see these dinner stories. What is that about?
Well, one of the things that struck me when I came to New Haven, other than the fact that nobody actually stops at red lights, was that there's a great storytelling community here.
Yes.
I would go to a storytelling event and it would be, a Tuesday night and, 15, 20, 30, 100 people coming, great storytellers, people who are practicing it in their lives, packing out the back room of Next Door Pizza or over at the Friends Meeting House or wherever.
Or
Concat, all over the place. So, Denise Santisteban, our food and tours curator, is deeply connected to that community. She's a storyteller herself, a great storyteller herself. And so I said, let's do some things around storytelling. What better connection to democracy? What better connection to all the parts of the festival than to have some storytelling events? So we've had some workshops, some storytelling workshops that have happened, and a couple of events. And the next one I think coming up is Dinner Stories 2. The idea is that you sit down at your dinner at home, and we have usually 3 stories, sort of an appetizer, a main course, and a dessert. We have local musicians. Seth Adam will be at the next one on May the 23rd, performing in between each story. So it's a little kind of storytelling experience. People leave their cameras on Zoom, so it feels like it's a kind of a crowded living room of people. They're experiencing something together, and they're really beautiful. I think the sort of act of being just one human being sitting down and telling an experience from their life to another is one of the most special things, and it's really at the root of everything we do artistically, in my opinion. So come out to that one, but then also we have some workshops around storytelling. We have one around storytelling for change with Bridget Brown, and then of course Matthew Dix, this local storyteller. He's a 46-time Moth Story Slam champion and teaches the art of personal storytelling. So we have also these workshops that you can register for and learn how to be a storyteller yourself, in addition to experiencing the stories of others in the live events.
Oh, I love it. Let's make a dance. Now,
we're making dances. I'm not personally making dances, but
come on,
somebody's making dances.
Everybody's a dancer.
I'm just standing in the back and clapping on 1 and 3. That's, I think, my role. But this is another group we were working with on a piece called Stage Door. Kegwin and company, Larry Kegwin, great choreographer. He and Nicole just created a beautiful piece with Juilliard, where they took all the musicians and dancers and theater makers from Juilliard, and they performed Ravel's Bolero, and each of them did parts of it, like the jazz organization. They had alums. I saw John Baptiste in there.
Wow.
Patti LuPone made a little appearance.
That is
a lot of their alums, and so they've actually been creating that. But in addition to what they're doing here in New Haven, which is these workshops, I think the workshops culminate this weekend. But you sign up. Anybody of any sort of ability or age or can join, and you sign up. You go on. They do a workshop, and then they create a video dance based on the people dancing in their homes. So that's a super fun thing. Again, I will be observing and not participating. Nobody needs to see that, but it's a lot of fun. It's a way to sort of get some self-expression and also to move. I mean, I don't
To
know if you felt
move.
this, but
Yes.
it's like one of the things that have changed is like you have to make, if you're not out in the world, you have to make an effort to
Yes.
move.
No, you do. And I'm
So
already, rickety as it is. And so, yes, you have to be deliberate and intentional about moving your body these
that's
days
right.
because you could be in front of this thing for hours,
That's right.
and get your fill. So, okay, so let's make a dance, virtual box city.
We got Box City. So what we did, everybody knows Box City. It happens
Yes.
on the green every year. It's a beautiful experience. We are making, I'm not, but people who know how to do it are in the process of making Box City in a computer game called Minecraft. Have you ever heard of Minecraft?
Yes, I know
Okay.
Minecraft. Yes.
So this is a game that's immensely popular with young people,
Hmm.
and so they have created a very pixelated but recognizable version of the New Haven Green in Minecraft, and we're doing experiences where people can go in and build things on the green in Minecraft. So we literally made Box City a virtual experience. So rather than like cardboard and tape and scissors, you got your pixels and your blocks and all those things, and you can create right there in the digital world. And another thing I wanted to mention is we do have some gift subscriptions available if folks don't have a Minecraft account or they don't have the means. They can reach out to someone at the festival. We can help them get in there if they are a fan of Minecraft and want to participate.
Wow, that's a big, Minecraft is a big deal. Like, it is a huge undertaking.
I saw a theater show in Vancouver right before that was my last artist research trip. That was created. The piece was created entirely in Minecraft. So big screen, and then there was just a table off to the side with like 6 fifth graders all sitting in a row, and they were making. They had designed it, and they were making the piece and doing the actions as it was narrated, which was really fascinating.
Wow. And then the Yale China Fellowship.
Yep, we have a great relationship with Yale China. We bring over fellows. They bring fellows every year to spend a time at Yale exploring and creating. And part of that fellowship is that these fellows have presented or participated in the festival every year, I think for the last 5 years. So the 3 that we have this year, of course, their experience is markedly different than the fellows who came before, but they found ways to take their projects and put them online. And some of these will be live experiences, some of these will be displays, seminars. So we have one on the 31st, a seminar about arts and sciences collaboration. We have one about film. Jeremy Hung has been working with local young people about film, and then one about film and internet art as well from Xing Hung on June the 23rd. So really terrific online experiences that you can have and explore the work of these Yale China Fellows who have, I got to say, I think when this is over, I don't want to hear the word pivot for about another 10 years, but this group of fellows have certainly been able to pivot and do something really interesting in this time when they had some factors that they really probably weren't expecting.
So, when you think about this, Bobby, how do you think history will shape this time, particularly here in New Haven, as we have been so connected to this Arts and Ideas Festival as a physical, tangible thing. And now this year, it's very, very different for the first time in its history. How do you think we will look back on this?
That's a good question. I think looking at society at large, we're gonna, as I said, appreciate the experience of gathering communally, maybe more than we did when we were taking it for granted. I think that there is a group of people that we used to call unskilled workers a few weeks ago and who now are holding the fabric of our society together.
Yes.
I hope that when we go back to some semblance of normalcy, that we appreciate those workers in very real and financial ways, hopefully than we did before. And I think in terms of the arts, it's gonna expand what we thought was possible. The idea of meeting people where they are. I mean, I think, for example, Arts on Call is something that could happen for a couple weeks before every festival, where people can send artists around and perform. I think we should not just think about the artistic experience as an in-person event, but how do we do things digitally that preface that event and after that event that expands the experience. And I think the beautiful thing about the arts is that it's so episodic. We can do all those things. We can enjoy the incredibly personal experience of going into an acoustically beautiful concert hall and hearing a single violin that was built in the 1700s play something that'll make you cry. And then you can see something online that was created by an artist that can also, engender that same emotion. So I think I hope that we look back at this time as a time that really stretches how we think about what we define as art, and also that stretches what we think our purpose is in the world.
So I get this press release the other day across my desk. Got a new sheriff coming over there.
A new sheriff coming to town. We're very excited. Yeah.
Is she a Latina? Because she got a lot of Spanish speaking Latino kind of stuff in her background.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we can get an interview with y'all to have that conversation very quickly. Shelley is deeply respected in the field and a real visionary. And I think everybody in New Haven, particularly folks who are excited about how the festival connects with community, are going to be really happy that she's.
I mean, she's got listen, I did my homework.
I know you do. You did your homework on me when I showed up.
She is solid. I was like, because I saw her picture and I was like, let me withhold judgment until I read. Fair enough. I read and I was like, whoa, like she's something. Like, how do we get her?
Well, it's a great search. And, the festival is so deeply respected around the country and around the world. I hope, I don't think New Haven takes it for granted, but I hope that they see it in the context, our community sees it in the context of the fact that not every city has this. And so we absolutely deserve and should have the best leaders and in our field, leading us into the next 25 years. And I think that's what we have with Shelley. I'm very excited to have her here.
So you're in the midst of this festival. Are you thinking about next year's festival? Because now
already. But those grant applications are due early, so I got to be working about 18 months out.
I was gonna say, do you get a moment, Bobby, to catch your breath? Do you take some after this is over? Do you go? Well, we can't go nowhere, but do you like shut stuff down and be like, okay, I need a week where I'm not on anybody's anything, and let me just chill.
It's already. I mean, we already have the big read author picked for 21. There are several artistic experiences that are in process. Some commissioned work. That process starts before the previous year's festival is even happening. So, I think it's a real assessment time. We're going to look at what we have and see what's going to be possible in June of 21, which I have every confidence we'll be back to some semblance of whatever we call normal. At that point, we'll have, either a vaccine, hopefully, or processes and structures in place that will allow us to gather in person again. And really beautiful artistic experiences and gathering. And I think one of the things that I want to do most significantly is that absolutely the first time we're able to gather again, I have this vision of it being a concert that honors essential workers. I want to see the big stage on the New Haven Green filled with people in lab coats and scrubs and grocery smocks and delivery
and
uniforms,
mops and brooms and mops and rags brooms. And buckets and yes.
And I want to say thank you to those folks who didn't have a choice about going to work every day and weren't able to, as I was in my privilege, to be able to sit in bed and tap on a computer all day. but
Mhm.
had to go and order to make sure that that food showed up, in order to make sure that that ventilator was working, all those intense things that have happened in the past few months. This is a really important time, and I hope that we don't just honor them in word, but also in deed and compensation and all those things, because it really uh, changed my view of how society works and maybe how it should.
Mhm. Mhm. So nobody better not ever fix their lips to say these unskilled people or these whatever, because
Mm-mm.
it really is these people holding this country together
That's
with
right.
like spit and buckets and mops and whatever
Yeah.
they can get their hands on. They are keeping us all moving forward. So they deserve every accolade, anything that we could throw. Hell, Yale ought to give kids scholarships from parents who are on these front lines.
Yeah. Totally.
That's all I'm
Yeah.
going to say about it. So we've got a full lineup for this festival. It is happening now. You made the decision to just jump it off early because I thought I was losing my. I was like, is this a little early?
Yeah. We're going.
And it's being well received. What are you hearing from people on the street? Are you?
The
I don't know how
response.
you
Yeah.
quantify this. I don't know how you measure this, but what are you
Yeah.
hearing?
Well, here's something fascinating. The festival has a partnership. The festival. This is the 25th anniversary festival. The festival has had a partnership for that 25 years with Quinnipiac University, and they've done 25 years of financial uh, data gathering and impact data gathering about what the festival does in New Haven. And this year, we are continuing to try and do that online. We have a survey um, after every event. But the other thing we have is we've started asking people questions. How did this impact your life? How did it feel? Did we give you something that you needed in this completely unprecedented time? And those stories are coming back to us now. Stories from artists who say it felt so good to play uh, again for people who clapped at the end. And it felt so good to see other folks. It felt so good to be on that Zoom call and make the cocktail and eat the food and feel like I was part of a community again, or feel somewhat like I was in a restaurant. It felt good to support my local community by being a part of these events. So I feel really good. History will say that we did everything we could in a time that was completely unprecedented, and it's happening all over the world in the artistic community. The artists
It
are the
is.
ones that were some of the most deeply impacted people in the world, and they are the ones who are responding the quickest and to the mission of what people need most significantly.
I'm on the board at the Long Wharf Theater, on top of the Arts Council, on top of Planned Parenthood, on top of Common
You run
Ground.
this town, Babz.
I don't. This town runs me. But the Long Wharf Theater has their big gala. We've had to pivot and shift and change, and so we're having our big gala June 8th, and we're
Yes.
hoping. We have virtual space for about 10,000 people.
Wow.
Yes, we have a platform for about 10,000 people. That's the idea. And tickets are what, $20 or whatever, and you come, you get a virtual access, and there'll be all kinds of stuff going on in this virtual space. And I'm so excited about this because people need to sort of get dressed up and show up. $20 get you in. There's a auction. So this, it'll be everything that you imagine it would be, will be,
I
except
just
we're
saw the
all.
lineup, and the lineup is amazing.
I
So
know,
I'm
the
gonna be
show
there.
is coming.
I'm gonna I'm gonna put on the top half of a tuxedo and
Yeah.
show show up at least. Yeah, that's exciting, and we're excited for our partners out of Long Wharf.
So I'm making the point that you're right. Artists have really just, which has always been the case. I
Always.
believe they've
Yeah.
always shown up. You've heard me say this. Artists are the true revolutionaries. They are the first revolutionaries. They are
Yeah.
the first ones to give us voice and words to move forward and to transform. So I'm so
Yeah.
proud of the Arts and Ideas Festival still going strong and doing this virtual thing, meeting people where they are. That's
Yeah.
really what
Well,
this is.
I've always said I thought artists were going to save the world, and then for a while I didn't think it was. I thought it was going to be journalists, but now I'm back to artists. I think it's going to be artists again. So.
Well, you know what? Journalism is going to have their second wind, right? Old school journalism is going to make a resurgence. I think Paul Babz is trying to hold that tradition down in a beautiful way. But I think old school journalism is going to come back around, Bobby, and people are going to want to seek out truth and intellect over whatever it is we're in right now. So
yep.
So yeah. Well, I can't wait to have you come back home and catch up, have a cigar, and
we'll have a cigar. I left some in your mailbox.
Yes,
more.
I so enjoyed them.
Oh, good.
I so enjoyed them. So thank you. I'm gonna go online and see what dates I could book me an artist on call, because I love I love that concept so much. And see what I can do. Maybe catch this last food thing. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I definitely will be around. So Thank you. Safe travels.
Appreciate it, Babz, and you too. And as soon as we're able to have another dinner party, I'm right there at the stove.
You are a damn good cook.
Thank you. You've inspired me having you over. I had to get some like vegan things into my repertoire. So I'm working on it. I was like tasting that afterwards. I hope Babz liked this, but I'm gonna try some more.
No, I loved it. Thank you. That was very kind and gracious of you. So, all right, my friend.
Thank you, Babz.
Thank you, Harry.
Thanks, Harry. See ya.
I love that, Harry. Happy Friday.
Keep spinning to the moon.